Hey guys, my name is Ibrahim. For a long time now, actually, I've been wanting to get into digital design or some form of creative art, but I've been finding it very difficult. And what I noticed was when I'm watching the pros do their thing on the tutorial videos, they make it look very easy, but then when I try, I struggle and I feel that I lose motivation very quickly. And what I wanted to see was just an ordinary, just like me, struggling through this creative process. And so what I decided to do is to capture my journey as I learned Blender, an open source 3D modeling software. Over the next year, I hope to go from zero to a short animated film. I hope it'll be useful for you guys as well, and that you'll stick around and motivate me through this journey and learn something for yourself as well. Let's get to it. Hey guys, welcome to the very first video in my Blender journey. It's actually quite nice to be behind the screen now instead of in front of a camera. I really prefer being behind the screen. So for this video, I'm just going to keep it simple. All I want to do is to set myself up so that I'll be ready to get straight into Blender in the following videos. And for those of you who don't know what Blender is a 3D modeling package, and it's even a bit more than that. Other than the modeling, you can also do animation. You can do games as well on Blender. There's a whole raft of different things that you can do, and it's quite on par with other pieces of software, other professional packages out there like 3ds Max or Maya, both of them from Autodesk. But those packages go for like $3,000, $6,000, some massive numbers. And Blender is for free. It's open source, which is awesome. I mean, to have such a powerful piece of software for free is really something that's that we should be thankful for as a part of the open source community. I don't have experience in 3D modeling, to be honest. I do have some CAD background as an engineer, but the workflow is very different. The tools are very different. Probably just about the only similarity between the two is that you use the middle mouse button to rotate around your model. Everything else is going to be absolutely new to me, and it's going to be quite an adventure, I hope. So without further ado, I'm going to look into installing new drivers for my graphics card, making sure everything's up to date, and then I'll download and install Blender. So first of all, for those of you who don't know which graphics card you might have in your computer, or if you even have one, at least for a Windows system, the process is quite simple. All you want to do is right click on my computer and hit properties, and from there go into your device manager, and here you'll find a list of all the different devices on your computer. The one we're after is display adapters, which is the name of our graphics card. And the easiest way is to right click on your graphics card and click update driver software. But since I don't trust Windows to find me the latest driver, or in some cases even the correct driver, I'll go to the NVIDIA website myself and download it from there. So I've got NVIDIA opened up already, and I already know which graphics card I have, the 500 series. And from here I can select the operating system and the language. If you don't want to go through this process, you can opt to just click on this graphics drivers button here, and a utility will download and run on your computer. It'll find which graphics card you have installed, and it'll install the proper drivers for that. For those of you who have an ATI graphics card or an integrated graphics card, the process is similar. Just go to your particular vendor's website. Actually, for those of you with an ATI graphics card, because up to a few days ago, actually, I did have an ATI graphics card. I can be called a bit of an ATI fanboy, I guess. But the issue is ATI and Blender don't go hand in hand very well. Actually, ATI and the Cycles rendering engine, which is part of Blender, don't go together very well by the looks of it. I did try actually running Blender with the ATI graphics card before this video, and it didn't work out very well. So I coughed the bullet in the end and bought a NVIDIA graphics card. So for those of you who are in the market maybe to buy a new graphics card and you're wanting to use Blender, keep NVIDIA in mind for that purpose. And I'll make a video, a few videos down the line, so hopefully in the next few days or the next week, explaining which graphics card would be best, or not best, just a good trade-off in terms of performance and cost for Blender. And let's download Blender actually now, instead of just staring at the drivers and downloading. And here you just click the operating system that you have. And while we're here, actually, I'd like to suggest, and in all honesty actually, that maybe not today, maybe not in a week, but eventually, after using Blender, if you do find it useful, donate to the Blender Foundation to keep the project alive. Because just as I mentioned before, a piece of software like this will set you back a few $1,000s, and to be able to get it for free is quite amazing. Anyway, the graphics drivers are finished downloading now, so we can begin the installation process. And this is the same as any other program. I may need to pause the video actually while the graphics drivers are installing, because I think they will mess with the recording a bit. The plans that I have over the next few days, actually over the next year, I'll explain the plans that I have and where I'm hoping to head with MyBlenderJourney. And I'll do that actually right after I come back from pausing this video, just in case I get cut a little bit short halfway through talking. Okay guys, I'll see you in a few minutes while this installs. Okay guys, I'm back now. The graphics card drivers are all finished installing. Now I'll move on to installing Blender, which is a very simple process actually. I'll just close all of these extra windows and I'll delete this other stuff that I don't need anymore. And we'll just start the Blender installer. There's no need for me to explain any of this to you guys. You're intelligent enough to know how to install the program. But what I will do from here is I'll start talking about what I have in mind over the next few days and the next few weeks. In all honesty, I have played around with Blender before for like an hour, and before that, 8 years ago when I was about 16 years old, I downloaded Blender. And I used it for about 5 minutes and couldn't figure out anything, and I just gave up immediately and moved on with my life. But now 8 years later, I'm back and I'm giving it another go. It looks like a lot has changed since then actually. The rendering quality is beautiful with the new Cycles rendering engine, and it seems like the interface is a lot more intuitive and a lot simpler now. So I'm really excited about that. And on the Blender website, I found a link or several links to tutorials. So I'll be going through all of these tutorials and letting you guys know what's worked for me, what hasn't, which tutorials to look out for, and also just showing you a bit of what I managed to do after, or what I managed to produce after going through these tutorials, and compare. Maybe if you go through the same tutorials, we can compare results and give each other tips on how to make things using the same processes that we learned through these tutorials. Two other channels actually that I found on YouTube that I really liked. One of them was Pig Art, and Pig Art, the really cool thing about it is that the results you get are really unique, really beautiful looking, but in the end it's all about low poly modeling, so everything is made out of very simple geometric shapes, so it's very easy for a beginner, but the ultimate outcome or the result that you get looks very cool. And the other channel is Andrew Price's channel from Blender Guru, and I think this tutorial here is actually by him as well. Andrew Price, he has a funny accent just like I do, except he's Australian and I'm New Zealander, or I'm living in New Zealand. And yeah, fish and chips versus fish and chips. Anyway, Andrew Price has a really good channel as well, and I'll be following his tutorials very closely and letting you guys know what works for me, what doesn't. I think Blender's finished installing by now. Yes, it has. And we'll start up Blender and we'll have a look at the user interface, and then I'll leave the rest to the next video when we're actually get into it and do some proper work. And there we go. Blender is all ready to go. Now, I do know a little bit about this interface, to be honest. I'm not starting from absolute scratch. As I told you, I've spent maybe an hour or two using this program, and I've watched many tutorials online, but never actually got into using the program. So I do know one thing that I should do to finish the setup process, and if you guys have a graphics card installed in your computer, you'll want to do this as well. So go into File, User Preferences, and from here under System, I believe, you can find Compute Device. And if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, you'll see the option for CUDA. If you have an ATI graphics card, as I mentioned before, I'll go through the process of showing you how to launch Blender or build a Blender kernel in an experimental mode at this stage, if that's what you want to call it. So I experienced a lot of crashes, but a lot of people have managed to get it working fine. I'll show you how that works anyway. But for now, I think I'll end the video here, and I'll come back with another video once I've done a few tutorials and started modeling things, and let you guys know what's happening. And thank you very much actually for joining me, and I really hope that you'll come back for more videos, and that you guys will give me feedback and encouragement as well over the next year as I go from absolutely zero on Blender to a short animated film. I still have no idea what the film is going to be about, how long it's going to be, maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes, but we'll see as I learn this program as to how realistic my expectations of myself actually are. Okay guys, see you next time.